I used to work the night shift at a small community hospital in northern Michigan. I wasn't a doctor or a nurse, just a night clerk assigned to the front desk of the older building. The place had been around since the 1950s, and at night it felt less like a hospital and more like an abandoned school. It was always quiet after midnight. The lights hummed, the halls echoed when someone walked, and the old radiators clicked like someone tapping metal with their fingernails. It was a Thursday night when the first strange thing happened. Around 1:30 a.m., I was sitting at the front desk refreshing my email for the 10th time when I saw movement in the hallway camera feed. The screen was grainy, black and white, and usually boring, but this time I caught a blurry figure standing by the end of hall window. At first, I thought it was just a patient wandering, but the figure didn't move. He just stood completely still. The window he was standing in front of faced the empty parking lot, the part of the hospital no cars ever parked in. Curious and a little uneasy, I radioed the security guard, Tom. "Hey, do me a favor and check the east hallway. Someone's standing by the window." Tom sighed. "On my way." I watched the camera feed as his flashlight beam appeared from the left side, but the figure never reacted. He didn't turn. He didn't move. Then Tom stepped into the frame. But here's the thing, the man in the camera wasn't there in real life. Tom walked right past the window. Shined his light. Looked around. Nothing. But on the camera feed, the man was still standing behind him, staring out the window. I felt my heartbeat start pounding. My palms went cold. "Tom," I whispered into the radio, "look behind you." He turned instantly, expecting someone to be there. But he saw nothing. He checked the whole hallway twice, then returned to the desk shaking his head. "Your camera's glitching. No one's there." He left, but I kept staring at the screen. And the figure slowly turned its head toward the camera. Not fast. Not jerky. Just a slow, deliberate rotation, like he knew I was watching. I pushed my chair back so hard it scraped the floor. The figure had no facial features. Just a pale shape, and dark eye sockets. I switched cameras. Switched back. He was now closer to the camera. Only a few feet from the lens. I felt sick. I radioed Tom again, but he didn't answer this time. When I looked back at the screen, the figure was gone. The hallway was empty, but the scratching noise behind me wasn't. It came from the glass door behind the desk, the one that faced the garden outside. I turned slowly. And in the reflection of the glass, I saw him. Standing directly behind me. I spun around, but no one was there. The air felt colder, like someone had just walked through me. For the rest of the shift, the cameras kept flickering. Every so often, I'd catch the figure in random hallways, always staring at the camera. Always still. I quit 3 days later. A week after that, the hospital replaced every camera in that hallway. Not because of me. But because the new clerk saw the same figure. Standing in the same spot. At the same time. Every night. Back in 2018, I worked at a 24-hour gas station on the outskirts of a quiet town in Arizona. The night shift was always slow. Maybe 5 to 8 customers from midnight until sunrise. But one night, only one customer came in. And I still don't know if he was actually human. It was 2:14 a.m. I remember the exact time because I checked the clock right before it happened. I was mopping the back aisle when the automatic door at the front slid open. But there was no sound. No footsteps. No greeting. Just cold air drifting inside. When I stepped around the corner to see who it was, I froze. A tall man was standing at the entrance. He wore old, dusty clothes like he'd been walking in the desert for days. His skin was pale, almost gray, and his lips looked cracked and dried out. He didn't blink. He didn't move. He just stared straight ahead as if he didn't know where he was. Sir, do you need help?" I asked. No response. He slowly turned his head toward me, and that motion alone made my stomach twist. It was too slow, too heavy, like his neck didn't work the way it should. When our eyes met, I felt this sudden rush of dizziness. He finally spoke. "Is it still open?" His voice didn't match his appearance. It was deep, echoing, and almost doubled, as if someone else spoke the same words at the same time. "Yes," I said quietly. "We're open." He walked inside, but his footsteps made no sound. Not even when he passed over the cracked tile near the register, a spot that always clicked. He wandered down the snack aisle and disappeared behind the shelves. But here's the part that terrified me. The security monitor above the counter showed the aisles clearly. Aisle 1, Aisle 2, Aisle 3. I checked each feed. And he wasn't in any of them. But I could hear him breathing. Slow. Heavy. Like someone standing right next to my ear. Suddenly he appeared behind me with a soda in his hand. I didn't hear him walk up. I didn't feel him approach. He just appeared. "That'll be $2.79, I said with a shaking voice. He handed me exact change without looking at me. His fingers were ice cold. Then he spoke again. "You should go home early tonight." I forced a smile. "Why?" He leaned in just a little. "There's something outside, waiting." I felt my entire scalp tighten. He walked toward the door, but before leaving, he turned and said, "Don't look at it." Then he stepped out into the night. I ran to the door to lock it immediately, but when I looked outside, he was gone. Not walking away. Not standing anywhere. Just completely vanished into the empty desert road. I called my manager and begged to leave early. He didn't believe anything I said, but he still let me go. I didn't see anything outside as I walked to my car, but I swear I heard something breathe behind me the whole time. I quit that job the next day. A month later, that gas station shut down overnight. No explanation. No announcement. Just closed and boarded up. This last story comes from my cousin, who worked as a night nurse at a rehabilitation center. She's not the type to scare easily, but what she told me still gives me chills. Room 309 was one of the isolation rooms, small, cold, and rarely used. But one night, around 12:45 a.m., my cousin heard the intercom beep. A voice came through. "Can someone help me, please?" The problem was, room 309 was empty. No patients had been assigned there for 2 weeks. She hesitated, thinking maybe someone had wandered in by mistake, so she went to check. The hallway was silent except for the buzzing fluorescent lights. When she reached the door of room 309, she gently pushed it open. Pitch black. The motion sensor light didn't turn on. It always turned on. She took a step forward and tried again. Nothing. She used her phone flashlight and scanned the room. The bed was untouched. The monitors unplugged. No signs of anyone inside. Just cold air. She backed out and closed the door quickly. 10 minutes later, the intercom buzzed again, louder this time. "Please, don't leave me here." Her stomach dropped. She ran to the security office and checked the hallway cameras. The feed for room 309's hallway showed something that made her skin crawl. The door to 309 was slowly opening on its own. Very slowly. Just a few inches at a time, until it swung wide open. Then something stepped out. But the problem was, there was no shape. Just a dark blur moving across the hallway, almost like a shadow walking upright. She watched it float past the nurse's station, but the actual hallway was empty. She checked the camera playback 4 times. The shadow was always there. At 3:12 a.m., the intercom buzzed a 3rd time. This time, it didn't sound like a person. It sounded like multiple voices talking at once, some whispering, some crying, some breathing heavily. All saying the same thing. 309. 309. 309. My cousin unplugged the intercom system from the wall. But even then, she could still hear the voices echoing faintly through the halls. That was her last shift. She resigned the next morning. 2 nights later, another nurse reported hearing someone crying inside room 309. When security opened the room, they found something no one could explain. The bed, the one no one had slept in, had a fresh indentation on the pillow. As if someone had been lying there. Breathing. Quietly. In the dark. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories.